stack as they come down at the Alabama International Speedway to run from lap 178 to lap 188. 17 laps to go. And off the point goes car number 2, Pearson. Now, if he could get a caution here, you could bet your boots he would try and stay in front of Waltrip. That would allow him to come around. There's Jody Ridley in the 77. You haven't seen him before today, but that's the Sonny King car number 77. And this kid Ridley's done an outstanding job. This has been a track where a lot of youngsters on the way up. I'll never forget the ride Skip Manning gave here a couple of years ago. A really incredible performance. Here's Waltrip underneath. Jody Ridley in the 77. Here's Ty Scott coming right along. Ty wants to get into a little bit of a squabble with number 2 and see if they can set up for second this afternoon. Right behind number 2 is your leader, Waltrip, leading the race. And right now in the same lap with him, but just barely, is car number 2 driven by David Pearson. Where Pearson would like to be, and that's exactly where Waltrip would like to keep track of him, Lee.
And in fact, the whole race is going according to Darrell's situation. I think he'll be able to pass number 2, although number 2 don't want him to pass him. But I think he's got just a little more go. If you'll notice, he's able to get in the turn just a little bit harder than number 2, and where he gets all the speed, maybe it's down the chute, so he'll be able to be in position to go around.
There's the battle for second place, and Ty Scott, the Pennsylvania driver, on the inside, gets beneath David Pearson and takes second. They're battling in the same lap. They're actually in the proper order here, although they are laps apart. 88 Waltrip in his own lap, then number 30 and 2, Ty Scott, David Pearson fighting for second position, and then back there in fourth is Richard Petty, but he's 2 laps down. He had a problem, a cut tire early. In the 5th position is car number 77, which is the Jody Ridley car. In 6th is number 47, Harry Gant. In 7th is Bruce Hill. Running 8th is 67, the Arrington car with Dick May now at the keyboard. Running 9th is Kyle Petty, who went all the way to the rear of the field on the start. And I suppose that was the instruction for him to stay out of trouble in those tremendously fast starts.
That's for sure. In other words, we had briefed him on to stay out of the way of the fast car, but since the track is thinned out, he's able to outrun most of the slow cars.
And running in 10th spot is Richard Childress from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Childress, number 3, is running in 10th position. There's your battle for second once again. Number 30, Ty Scott. Number 2, David Pearson. The biggest advantage for victory anyone has ever enjoyed. Will it hang together for Darrell Waltrip and make him the 11th different winner? The guys running in second, third, they have never won this event. And of course, the first winner among the group previously, Richard Petty, back there in 4th position. Petty winning this event in a Dodge back in 1974. Waltrip still in front. Waltrip's having an incredibly good year. He's currently leading in the standings. His wife in here scoring for him today. 4 victories. And let's go to the Ty Scott pit for just a moment. Ned Jarrett's there.
All right, is the crew chief on that car number 3010. He has fielded a winner here in the past with Dave Marcus. Harry, you got a young driver out there in Ty Scott, but he's doing a tremendous job today.
He did a beautiful job, Ned, and I don't know if we could pull this without. Right now we're having a terrible race with the old gray fox, David Pearson, and we're hoping if we can hold down second spot, and if we can, we're going to be real happy to leave here today with second spot. And he's did a beautiful job of driving today. They just come back now running 196 miles an hour, and that's a beautiful way to go.
Well, you've been around this sport for quite a while. What kind of advice did you give to Ty before he started today, starting in 3rd place?
I told him to try to keep a cool head and run hard and steady all day. We got down a lap on a caution today, which was a real bad deal, but it was one of them breaks that just comes your way, and we couldn't help that. But other than that bad break we got on making that pit stop just before a caution, he's run a beautiful race. He stayed in there good all day, and he has really kept a cool head. We haven't made any mistakes today. The mistake that we had that put us a lap down was just one of those unfortunate things that a caution fell immediately after we made a stop. And it does it to the best of sometimes.
Well, he's got a cool mechanic here, too, also, Ken Squire.
One of our favorites, old Harry Hyde. 10 laps to go, and they come by this time. There is an interesting battle we should talk more about, and that is that Richard Petty has in no way sewed up 4th position. Jody Ridley in the 77 is right there with him. There's your leader, Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip in front as he comes by. 7 laps remaining in the Talladega 500 this Sunday, August 5th. Here you see Ty Scott, who is battling in second position with David Pearson, 1 lap down from the leader. Ty Scott being pursued by the silver fox, David Pearson, as we get to the finish of this race. Darrell Waltrip enjoying the biggest lead anyone has ever fashioned in the event. The battle for 4th position is a barn burner. Richard Petty is trying to fend off, and there you see it. Right behind Petty comes the number 90 of Ricky Rudd and the 77 of Jody Ridley. They are fighting for 4th position in the last moments of the race. Waltrip, many said, would not go past the first pit stop before he would ask for relief today. And he sure found the right medicine when he popped out in front of the early going and has been staying pretty much up all day in first place. Able to run with them, run around them, inside of them. Here he is, getting just by a lap car as they come back into the trioval another time. Ty Scott tagging right along behind in that second position. Running the 3rd spot, David Pearson. The 30 car and the 2 car with 6 laps to go are 1 lap down to Waltrip. The first 3 drivers have never won this Talladega 500, worth a total of over $230,000 in first this afternoon. Have you ever had a race won by a lap lead, Petty, in all those races that you were able to win and then have it go away?
Oh, yeah, we've won plenty of races, you know, be 4 or 5 laps ahead. In fact, I saw Richard 13 laps behind one time and come up and win the race. You know what I mean? And so...
yeah, but were you ever in front by a lap and had to go to sleep and you thought you had to win?
I don't believe I ever got that far in front. If I ever got that far in front, I'd always slow down.
Why would you do that?
Well, I didn't want to run too fast, because if you run too fast next time, they expect you out to do something to you.
5 laps to go. Waltrip is in front. Then in the second spot, still Ty Scott running in front of David Pearson. In 4th, Richard Petty. In the 5th position, car number 90, Ricky Rudd at Chesapeake, Virginia. Jody Ridley in the 77 runs in 6th. 3 cars will battle the line for 4th spot. And now you see it closing to the ground. As they move in on Richard Petty, it looks like 77 Ty Scott is making the move. 77 down the inside, fighting wheel to wheel with Richard Petty. There they are, still side by side. That is the battle for 4th. Up into the 2nd position is moved car number 2. David Pearson back into 2nd. Ty Scott back to 3rd. Let's go to David Pearson's pit.
Now, with J.C. Elder, we were about to have quite a strike. You would be on the last lap, but now he's moved out in front of that car number 30, J.C.
I think David was just playing with him a while ago.
Well, that's his style.
Yeah, I knew he could run a little faster, but I think he just waited.
Well, he's waited to the right time now. Moved up into that.
Looked like 30 fell by at the wayside.
Ty Scott's having trouble off the backside, off turn 2. Ty Scott may have had a problem. And here's car number 2, Pearson. Still in there, holding on his competitor in the lap. Looks like he may have fallen off. Car number 2 coming out of turn number 4 by himself for 2nd place. So we have the leader, Waltrip, in 1 lap, number 2, Pearson, in another lap, and now the battle is for 3rd. Ricky Rudd, Jody Ridley, and Richard Petty fighting for 3rd at the end of this Talladega 500. Pearson pull up on Waltrip, a lap apart. You wouldn't know it the way they run into the first turn, Lee Petty.
No, sir. They are really going toe to nail. In fact, David would like to be able to go around it, but it's getting so far down in the pits now that I don't think it's got much of a chance, although you never know till somebody throws the flag. We have about 2 or 3 more laps to go, and so looks like Darrell's got it in the bag if something don't happen.
Car number 30 just went by running slowly. He's come out of the throttle considerably. A bad break for Ty Scott, who really gave it a whomping run here today. Number 88, Waltrip, has the advantage. Darrell Waltrip circulating around with 2 laps to go this time. This would be his 21st career victory. It would be his, 6th win of the season. Pulled off 5 already. The laps trickling out. 2 to go. Waltrip there, and the Australian car running 2nd. Time car automobile is in 1st. The battle is back here for 3rd, just behind these 2 machines. Remember, they're a lap down. Waltrip in a lap unto himself in 1st place. 2nd place runner, Pearson, in a lap unto himself. But Richard Petty has some work to do. White flag, next time by. Leader up in turn 3 and 4.
two cars like that, they can pull away from a field of 4 or 5 cars. They've been doing it all day. And so it looked like Darrell has got it in the bag. All he's got to do now is just hope something don't break.
Meanwhile, back in third, as the white flag comes out, Richard Petty back in front of Jody Ridley, as well as Ricky Rudd. Into the last lap. Car number 88, Waltrip in first, David Pearson in second. Last time through. Pearson closing ground, trying to take back a lap here at the finish. Going by.
Probably Darrell has slowed down just a little bit because all he got to do is just go to the checkered flag. He's got it made, although Richard's got trouble back there where he's racing.
Richard Petty is really in trouble. He's got 2 or 3 cars all over him. Meanwhile, the leader's coming down. Follow him through for the finish. Here is Waltrip coming to the flag. He will win it. Pearson will take second. The hat is the third.
9-3.
Wide open. Car number 90 just in front of Richard Petty, falling to fourth. Car number 90. Ricky Rudd on the outside, making a good move to take the third position away, dropping Richard Petty to fourth, Jody Ridley into fifth. They're having oxygen standing by, and an ambulance is standing by at Victory Lane for Darrell Waltrip. He was that sick, not expected to run the race today. Run it, he did, and become the 11th different winner. Darrell Waltrip winning the Talladega 500 this afternoon on the world's fastest motor speedway. The Alabama International Motor Speedway sees the green and white colors of Waltrip headed for Victory Lane. There's the Darrell Waltrip crew gathered around the automobile, turning a racing car into a bus as they head for Victory Lane. There's Stevie Waltrip walking along. Now she's jumping on the hood of the automobile as well. The official standings on today's race. Finishing in first, number 88, Waltrip, the first driver to ever win this race in a lap unto himself. In second place, as they came to the finish line today, would be car number 2, driven by David Pearson. In the third spot, car number 30, unofficially listed in that spot. Number 30 was still running, and Ty Scott will get third spot. Ty Scott stayed on the track, kept running, finished in third, 2 laps down. Then in fourth was car number 90. Number 90 came across in fourth, driven by Ricky Rudd, and dropped Richard Petty to fifth, with the car of Jody Ridley finishing in 6th position. The 7th position to Harry Gant, the 8th position to Buddy Arrington car with Dick May, and the 9th position went to Kyle Petty, with the 10th spot going to car number 3, Richard Childress. Again, Ty Scott kept motoring, kept going, although he was off the pace, then wound up in third. Coming into Victory Lane, the Dygaard bus with all of its pit crew, scorers, friends, relatives, and neighbors. And Brock Yates is standing by to get a word right now with the winner of today's Talladega 500. Let's go to Brock.
Ken, this pandemonium begins here in Victory Lane. Darrell is getting himself a shot of oxygen. He is very, very hot, obviously. You just don't do this kind of thing without becoming very warmed over. So we may not get a chance to talk with him for a couple of seconds. The crew is tending to him. He wants to talk now. He wants to talk.
I'm real late. You know, I was sick for a couple of days, but car runs so good. Everything went so well that I forgot about being sick. And I tell you, my hat's off to Robert Yates. You know, we had engine trouble last week at Pocono, and this week he come back and showed him that he ain't scared to put the horsepower to it.
Our congratulations, Darrell. We're in a little bit of a hurry like you are. Best of luck. Thanks. Ken, that's it from Victory Lane. Very tired young man here.
The speed was 161.229 miles per hour. It took 3 hours, 6 minutes, and 6 seconds to go the 500 miles today at Talladega. When you won at Daytona in 1959, how long did it take you?
Well, in other words, how long did it take to run 500 miles at 135 miles an hour? You figure that.
161 miles an hour was the average today for car number 88. Waltrip victorious. Here you see him still taking oxygen in Victory Lane, finishing in second spot. Across the line was David Pearson, and third, our congratulations to Ty Scott. Fourth to car number 90, the Junior Don Levy crew from Virginia, with an excellent finish today as their driver, Ricky Rudd, came through Then came Richard Petty, and the Pettys wound up having a pretty good day in 4th and 9 spot. 4, Brock Yates and Ned Jarrett working in the pits, and for Lee Petty working in a reserve role for a guy named David Pearson, who elected to go back out and race he did. I'm Ken Squire with our coverage, same-day activity of the 11th running of the Talladega 500, and for the 11th time, a new name is in victory lane. Today, Darrell Waltrip.